Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, aka the Bod Father. Have another awesome interview lined out for you guys today. I want to welcome my guests who are from Oshawa, Ontario, Canada. This is the band called Black Cat Attack. They have a new EP that's out right now, and I hope you guys will go out and support them and buy them. I mean, it's just $5, guys. Come on. $5, you can buy 2 EPs from these guys. You know, you got to support the local ones. So even if they're from Canada, no matter where they're at, go support them. The first their first EP that's out is called Lonely Horror Stories, and then they've got a new one coming out called Vamparty, and you guys want to check that out. And without further ado, I have on the show with me right now, I have Val Knox, and I also have Brian Dickface. That's right, Brian Dickface. So how's it going, guys?
Great, how are you?
It's going pretty good.
All right, awesome. It's going pretty good.
Yep.
So, let's talk about your new EP that you guys got out. How's it going so far? How do y'all like the tracks?
We're loving it. We had so much fun recording it, and so far all the feedback's been really good from all our friends and our fellow musicians around there. Everyone seems to really enjoy it, so we're really happy.
Now, aren't you guys, or didn't you guys just have another website to play all your tracks on their show? Wasn't it called horrorpunks.com? Is that right? Didn't they do?
Yep. We're currently doing a thing called Takeover that they do for bands, depending on the month, I guess. They have a band come in and they just promote the heck out of them, and it's a lot of fun, and it's really nice promotion from them. So the album Vamparty is streaming on horrorpunks.com right now.
Yeah, I see it on here too. And too, guys, you can go vote for Black Cat Attack for best up and coming band too on horror-punks.com. And there's a lot of great bands on there too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of great bands that's on this too. So you know, a lot of competition, as I call it.
I checked them all out too, and they're all great bands.
Yeah, I mean, you got the Casket Creatures, and you've got Robbie Bloodshed, pretty awesome guy. You've got, I have to go to the website and check out, but there's a lot more.
Danzig's on there too. They're wicked.
Yeah, Dirty Danzig. I have heard of them, but I have not had them on here yet. I will. Looking forward to trying to have them on here for sure. But let's talk about the scene in Canada with you guys and music wise. Do you guys have a lot of support where you guys are at, and also are the other horror punk bands around there?
We've recently just started hooking up with horror punk bands that are within reasonable driving distance. There's not a lot up here that we know of, but we started playing shows with them, and it's always a blast. And you know, the shows we do play are usually pretty good. You get good turnouts. It's always nice to see everyone having fun.
Yeah, the horror rock scene in Toronto seems to be a bit more booming than here in Oshawa. We're a pretty small town anyway, though. So
it's just crazy how I know you guys are in Canada and stuff, but it's just crazy how the horror punk scene is up there as well as it is down here. Huge. But I mean, how is it up there with that scene though? I mean, is it kind of taken over or?
No, not really. I mean, there's always been a horror rock presence, and you know, you can pick and choose different shows any given time to go see. But as far as the bands goes, there's not a ton up here. There's like the Howling Bullets, there's the Matadors, there's Patron Saint of Plagues. There's a bunch of them, and but not a ton, not enough to really consider it taking over.
Right.
Yeah, with a lot of the horror rock bands too, we're all pretty far from one another. So. I mean, like Patron Saints of Plagues are from Ottawa, and that's about 5 hours away from us, and a lot of us we're all really spread out, so we don't get to play together. I mean, as much as I think we would all like to.
There's a couple in Toronto, which isn't too far for us. It's under an hour, but getting into playing decent shows in Toronto isn't exactly easy.
What about the metal bands up there? Are you guys hooking up with some of the actual metal bands and them taking you under their wings and taking you out to locations to play with them as well?
Not really. We've played one metal show.
Yeah, we don't really get the opportunity to play with like a lot of the metal bands. Usually, kind of the way it seems to be kind of down here is the metal shows are metal shows and the punk shows are punk shows. Like,
yeah.
Right.
You don't really get a mix.
You don't get a diverse. I don't know what you'd call it, lineup on the show. Because
the metal scene down here, especially, it's pretty huge. So, they've got their own thing going on, and they just kind of work on that.
Mm-hmm. That sucks though. That it's like that. It would be cool if they would say like, hey, who cares? Bring them anyway. That's the way it should be.
Well, it does happen from time to time, but at the same time, a lot of the people that go to metal shows, they're not going there to see punk bands, so you get the people that just aren't interested.
Now, from the very first EP that you guys had out, the Lonely Horror Stories. From that album to December one for the Vamparty, can you guys say that you guys have progressed more and come of age more? Or, what's your guys' take on it?
Well, the thing with Lonely Horror Stories was actually recorded in 2010 and 2011. Mm-hmm. What happened was we recorded, and then halfway through, our drummer actually quit. So it took us about 8 months to find Ari, who's our current drummer. And it was like, in total, from the last show until the first show back, it was about a year. So we just kind of worked on the album. And we only just released it this year, or last year, no.
Yeah, I think Vamparty is...
It's way different.
Yeah, it's a lot more harder. It's a lot more, kind of faster and kind of heavier, kind of tougher sounding.
I find it's more technical, too.
Yeah, and the song content, I mean, we've always had horror content in our music, but for Vamparty, it's a lot more, graphic and kind of more violent and brutal horror lyric content.
Yeah, I was going to say, too, that I noticed the difference between Lonely Horror Stories and now Vamparty, because Vamparty seems more upbeat and a little bit blacker.
Yeah, definitely.
A little bit darker.
Yeah, and it's, with new stuff that we're writing and stuff, it's only going kind of further in that direction. We also, too, with the first record, kind of psychobilly and rockabilly were a heavy influence at the time that album was written. And, a lot of the songs on Lonely Horror Story were written before I was in the band or Ari was in the band. And Black Cat Attack was just a different sounding band back then. And then... I joined the band and I've got, a taste for, definitely more thrash and harder music, and Ari's the same, so, it's kind of naturally going to go that way.
What do you guys think about they're not so much of a mainstream horror punk band out there anymore? Misfits used to be hit, but now it's like, I really don't know. It's kind of like, then Blitzkid took over and carried the torch. And now they're not doing anything. So, what's your guys' take on that?
I think there's horror scenes growing in every region across North America. And I think you'll see the ones that are really in it, you'll see them kind of, for lack of a better term, kind of rise up and just kind of have a bigger sense of community with each other. I think you'll see it grow substantially.
I think that too, I like the fact that you've got this underground status with horror rock, and even with punk rock to a certain extent, because the fact of the matter is when music goes mainstream, it caves to mainstream standards, which aren't really all that good. And with its kind of underground status, it's more of a pure form of music, and
more honest kind of.
I'm happy with that. I like that. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. I'm kind of happy at the fact that there isn't this mainstream band that's kind of fronting the way of horror rock. But at the same time, it would be kind of neat to see that happen.
Yeah, you guys are right. It's mostly underground bands that's really taken over and carrying the torch.
That's cool too, right? There's. I don't really see a big problem with that,
I think it's great because, you've got your own thing going on. You don't have to have like all these huge influences in the outside world coming in and trying to, make it stupid, as I should say.
Yeah, and there's, like I said, there's definitely a standard that mainstream music has to live up to for it to be mainstream music, and I think it would ruin kind of what I like most about horror rock. It would take out some of the more violent aspects of horror rock, which
you have to make it radio friendly, right?
Exactly.
It's no fun.
No, because I think one of the big appeals to me is I'm an enormous death metal fan, and that's one of the appeals to playing horror rock is you can kind of get that, that brutal imagery and that brutal song content. And I just feel that if it were to go to some mainstream level, you would lose that. And that, in essence, would be losing what I find so awesome about horror rock.
Yeah, and so many bands lose their touch when they do go mainstream.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
You look at Rise Against, they were amazing. I'm not trying to point fingers here, but I still love the third album that they put out, but all this new crap they're putting out, it just sounds like everything else on rock stations now. It's just, I'm not interested.
And I mean, even with the Misfits, right? I mean, you look at, when they started kind of getting to their bigger status was when they came back with Graves, and you had, American Psycho, a phenomenal album. Famous Monsters, a great album. Mm-hmm. And then, they just kind of rode that whole sound out, and they rode that whole thing out. And I mean, Devil's Reign isn't all that great of an album, I don't think. And I think that's because they kind of were pressured into, the kind of mainstream, mold of music.
Doyle actually has a new album that's getting ready to come out this year. I'm anxious to hear that album.
Is it Gorgeous Frankenstein?
It's something else. He's actually changed the whole name, I believe.
Yeah.
I think it's just called Doyle. If I'm not mistaken. I think it's just called Doyle.
It'll be interesting to see what he comes up with and what direction he kind of goes in,
Well, even his Gorgeous Frankenstein stuff was very similar to the, the Graves era of the Misfits.
But it still was hard pounding, though. I mean, it was still heavy.
Yeah, definitely. I liked it. I thought it was great. So, I mean, hopefully he kind of stays on that track, because I actually quite enjoyed his record.
So, these two EPs that you guys have out, what would you say is your best songs off of them that the fans absolutely love from you guys when you play them for people?
It's hard to say. I think one of the more popular ones right now is Don't Go to the Woods Alone. Mm-hmm. Only really played the songs live once, but everyone went crazy for that one.
For the old record, the song Sunday Sacrifice always gets a really good response.
I think it's the strongest song on the record.
A song like You're Too Dead for Me also gets a pretty good response. I find with us and the crowds that we play to, they more gravitate towards the kind of straightforward kind of rock and roll songs, as opposed to our more kind of bouncier technical songs, which is another reason why, we chose to make Vamparty, like you say, a little bit darker and a little bit meaner and a little bit more straightforward, because on the first record, those are the songs that got the most plays, and they got the most requests and attention and stuff like that. So
let's talk about Black Cat Attack. How did that name come about?
Well, I started this band in late 2007. I was talking like November, December 2007, with one of our former members, Julie, and we were just sitting there writing songs and bringing songs and showing each other. And I brought one called Black Cat Attack, and at this point in the band, we actually didn't have a name yet. We weren't getting ready to play shows or anything. We're just kind of, getting everything together and ready to go. And I brought this song to the table. It was called Black Cat Attack, and I played it for her and our drummer at the time. And after being unable to decide on a band name, they're just like, well, why don't we just call it Black Cat Attack? Mm-hmm. And we kind of just shrugged it off and went with it, and it's not that interesting of a story.
I just think it's a cool name. I mean, it's like Black Cat Attack. I mean, for the past couple of days I've been going, I couldn't get it out of my head.
It rolls off the tongue nicely.
Yeah,
it really does. Like, the name just, like, the words fit really well together, and it's just like, although the words don't really rhyme, they're just like, it's an attractive word to say.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And I saw the photo on Facebook, your guys' Facebook page. It said Black Cat Made Me Do It. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually in.
That was Brian's idea, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's my idea. We were doing a photo shoot, and I wanted just a cool photo that we weren't a part of or anything, so we just got a bunch of fake blood and just wrote it on the wall of our shower and took a picture of it, and it's been up there ever since. A lot of people seem to like it, and it was just kind of like an afterthought, and it was really awesome.
Well, look at all the other crazy things that bands have done. It stuck out. I mean, honestly, Yeah,
we're trying to do right now. We're kind of getting all our ducks in a row so we can start putting out merch that isn't kind of standard merch. Every band's got the shirts and the patches and things like that. We want to kind of start doing, just different merch. Like, we had masks for a while. We had these like BCA zombie masks that had the name cut into the forehead.
Awesome.
And they were like the paper masks, and
they were really easy to make too.
Yeah, we're discussing some really cool.
Those are really popular. Everybody loves those.
We're discussing some like really cool merch ideas right now.
So, are you guys still writing new songs? Are you writing any new songs right now, or still have some old ones to throw out possibly for another EP maybe?
Well, we're not going to go any further back with the old material, but we will be writing a new EP. And then after that EP, we're going to put out a full length. Over the next 2 years or so, we'll put out an EP and a full length.
Awesome.
And we're going to be constantly writing all through the summer and the winter, and It's going to be a lot of fun. We don't really stop discussing songs and writing, though.
We had 2 great ideas, and the thing is we wanted to kind of put them out and make them as make them available as soon as possible. So what we decided to do is, instead of releasing 2 full lengths, we took one of the ideas and we're going to make it into an EP, and then we're going to take the bigger idea, the one that we were all really excited about, and we're just going to hold off on that for a little bit, and we're going to release that one with the full length.
I know there's 3 of you in your band, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, does everybody contribute to writing the songs, or is it just mainly you, Val, or how do you guys do it?
Well, honestly, I start writing a song, I'll write the chorus, and then I'll have an idea of where I want to go with the song, and I'll bring it to the guys, and then Brian's got amazing songwriting skills. He was in a band before this, and he did most of the writing, I think.
Yeah.
And even Ari, he'll pipe up, and he'll come up with the perfect little, final touch on it. So we all contribute, just in different ways. We'll sit there and build songs together too. Me and Brian write very well off of each other, Now,
your inspiration behind the songs, is it primarily horror, or how do you do it?
Well, I'd say the primary influence is going to be horror films, and there was one song off the first EP I was inspired by. A movie that was a Frank Miller comic, but it wasn't very horror, it was more crime.
I think we all get, when I write horror-themed stuff, or when I tend to write for the band, I'm not an altogether too serious of a person. When I wrote Vamparty, you know what I mean? I came up with the name Vamparty, and my writing tends to be totally horror, horror in content, but at the same time, I always try to, just make myself laugh and kind of write these kind of fun little songs that don't really take themselves too seriously.
Yeah, we definitely have parts of comedy in there, too.
Yeah.
But comedy and horror kind of goes hand in hand in a lot of cases.
Well, true. Yeah, you got to do your... Well, how can I say this? You can't be all serious all the time. Then it's going to become a job and then it's going to suck, so...
We're really not serious all of the time. That sounds bad when I say it. It sounds like...
We love playing rock and roll, and we love what we're doing, and we're going to keep doing it.
We care very greatly about our music. We practice a ton. We work really hard to put on a good show. But... at the same time, we're not up there trying to be these kind of haunting, brooding, scary, tough figures, because we're not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're not
tough.
You know what I mean? We're a bunch of jokers, and we like to have a great time, and, we want the crowd to have a great time with us. And, when you see us live, a lot of jokes are told on stage, and, it's kind of more of a running joke. Not in the sense of we're making horror a joke. That's not what we're doing. We love horror and we respect it greatly. We're just more on the lighthearted side, I think.
We're just having
that comes through live.
A lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just throwing this out here. I like NoFX, and listening to their stuff live is just hilarious. Especially when they do their in-between songs. Those guys are just nuts.
And that's what to be honest, that's for live, that's kind of our big inspiration. And punk bands like the Vandals and stuff like that, we try to kind of do that on stage, and it always goes over amazing. It goes over so well, because sometimes you see the bands up there, and all the guys are dark and they're trying to be tough, and it's funny, and they're not trying to be. You know what I mean? Because you're just come on, you're really trying to just be something you're not. You get that a lot, with the hardcore shows and stuff like that. And we just kind of get up on stage in just jeans and t-shirts and just be who we are, which is just, joke-cracking losers.
We make fun of each other a lot on stage, too.
And it seems, too, when you guys are having a good time and you're getting a crowd involved with it, it makes for a much, much better show than anything.
Yeah, we've had the crowd before, you can just hear, roaring, laughter just at our jokes and stuff like that, in between the songs and stuff like that, just being funny, and that everyone in the crowd is happy and laughing, and, everyone's cheersing beers and stuff like that, and the crowd's yelling stuff back to you, and you're joking around with the crowd now, and, we try to make our shows this really tight, all-encompassing show, and, not to kind of toot our own horn, but we do that really well.
Yeah, well, that's awesome, man. Anybody that would come to a Black Cat Attack show, be prepared to have a great time, because it seems like they do.
Yeah, that's the thing, there's always moshing at the shows, and all sorts of the crazy stuff like that going on, but You know what I mean? In between the songs, it's the jokes, it's the laughter, and that kind of also makes for, we don't really have any fights at our shows, and I think it's because, you know what I mean? Like, everyone's just having too good of a time.
But that's good, though.
That's a bad thing. Yeah, I see that as a positive. I don't see that as a negative at all. No,
that's definitely not negative at all. But let's talk about your guys' influences. Who are some of your big influences growing up for music?
My huge influences, I think, growing up, were, the Misfits, definitely, Black Flag, Minor Threat, Turbo Negro's a huge influence for me. More recently, there's a newer band right now on Relapse Records called Red Fang, and I'm really getting a lot of inspiration from them. And I've always been a huge death metal fan, so I mean, your standard death metal fare like Autopsy, Obituary, and Cannibal Corpse, and Death, things like that. Mm-hmm. King Diamond is a huge one for me as well. I've got a big King Diamond tattoo. He's my favorite of all time. That guy to me is just like, he does horror the best. And he again, he doesn't take himself too seriously, and a lot of people hate King Diamond, but I absolutely love King Diamond.
I'm not a fan of King Diamond, but him and Ari forced me to listen to it in the van when we take longer trips.
Yeah, Ari is also a huge King Diamond fan.
My influences are kind of scattered. I mean, growing up, it was a lot of pop punk and punk rock. I loved Rancid and Distillers and Bad Religion and NoFX and the Misfits, Rise Against, as I mentioned earlier. And then nowadays, there's a lot of psychobilly influence for me. There's the Matadors and the Necromantics and Tiger Army, bands I all really like. And, rock and roll bands too, like the Calabrese. They're amazing. I think they're fantastic. And I see them doing it, and I think, I can do that too. It's nice. It's, I take all my inspirations, and that's kind of where you get, between me, Brian, and Ari, with all our influences across the spectrum, that's where you get this weird sound that people can't seem to define.
Yeah, because, Ari and I definitely come from a more metal background. We listen to a lot of metal. We don't really listen to a ton of punk rock. And Val pretty much only listens to punk rock.
And psychobilly.
Yeah, so you get that fusion between us, and it's awesome.
It's weird as hell.
Slip a Pantera CD in there, go, oh, let's just punk band. Here we go.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm like you, Val. My music is so scattered. It's like I can listen to metal, and like the next second I'm listening to some bluegrass, and from there I'm going to, oh my God, back to grunge, and then to punk, to horror punk. I mean,
I find myself listening to a lot of jazz when I'm driving to work too. And
oh yeah, love jazz.
Yeah.
Love jazz is a huge one for the band as well.
We're big jazz fans.
I like Chili Peppers too. Red Hot Chili Peppers. I love those guys.
Ari loves the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, oh my God, and Foo Fighters. I mean,
I like the Foo Fighters. I like what they've been doing lately. I wasn't a fan of them growing up, but the last couple of records have been pretty good from what I've heard.
Now, do you guys prefer clubs, festivals? Does it even really matter?
Oh man, we'll play it all. We play anywhere, pretty much, except birthday parties.
Yeah, we won't play. We get asked actually quite a bit to play birthday parties, and we turn them down all the time.
Yeah, not all the time, but
yeah, there's
been a couple instances where it's like, I don't know you.
Yeah, if it's if it's a good friend of the band, we'll always be there to set up and play for a friend. But a lot of the times, you just get at shows, you just get these random people being like, hey, I'm having a birthday party at my house. Do you want to show up and play? No, thank you. I don't want to do that, actually. But, we play everywhere and anywhere, anywhere that'll have us, whether it be a festival, a club, a
bar.
Yeah.
Lots of bars.
Somebody's basement, we don't care.
So when they leave from watching your show, what do you want these individuals to take away from the show and remember you guys?
I think I really just want... To me, a big thing that I pride myself on, and I think the band also prides itself on it, is we practice a lot. At home and in our jam space, we practice a lot. And I want people to love our music, and I want people to like our music. I mean, that's kind of the obvious answer. But I also want people to think that our musicianship was tight and on point. We get complimented a lot on how tight we are live. Mm. We have a lot of starts and stops in our songs with no lead in, and with no lead back into the song or lead into the stop. We just stop and keep going. And it's that technicality that I would really like people to recognize. That's what I hope people take from the show too, is just like, we take so much pride in our musicianship that I hope it gets recognized.
How can people get a hold of the new EP that you guys have out, and plus your old one, if they want to get it? Right
now, the Vamparty is available for download off of our Bandcamp, blackcatattack.bandcamp.com, for $5. It's a 7-track CD. Comes with the album art, actually. And for Canadians, they can get it soon in HMV and Amazon.ca.
iTunes as well.
iTunes, it's going to be available worldwide shortly. And then we also will be setting up a link so anyone around the world can order a physical copy of it. It's also available on nothingbutaNightmareRecords.com. No, it's nothingbutaNightmare.com. And at some point, as soon as it's up and running, the Ghouls Night Out web store, it'll be available there too.
Looks like you guys got some things coming out here for, looks like January 18th. You guys are going to be at Hard Luck Bar in Toronto.
Yep.
March,
next Friday.
Yep. March 2nd, you're going to be at Cafe Decuff. Is that right? Decuff?
Decuff in Ottawa.
With the Coffin Cats.
Yep. And then March 15th, the Atria. I cannot talk for the save my life.
Oh, you're saying it right.
Atria
with the Matadors, and then the following night back at the Hard Luck in Toronto with the Matadors again.
And then looks like for summer, you guys are booking right now. It looks like July, you guys are going to be in Montreal. Is that right?
Yeah, well, actually, that's the only confirmed Canadian date so far. I'm not focusing on booking those yet because those are easier to get than American dates. We're currently booking a partial Canadian, partial American tour. We're going around the GNO Festival because we're going down to play there. So we'll be coming through I guess you'd call it the northeast of the United States. Mm-hmm. And we're going to see how that goes. And then next year, hopefully, we'll go a bit further. Also, too, in May, I think we're going to be hooking up with Children of October for Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Buffalo. Some shows with them. We're going to do a little weekend bender with them.
Yeah, Children of October, those guys are class acts. I mean, all these bands that are down here, they're class acts. I think you guys are going to enjoy working with them.
Yeah.
We're really excited.
Yeah, you know what? A lot of the bands that we've dealt with, I'm going to say actually all of the bands that we've dealt with from the United States have all just been wonderful and kind, accommodating and just awesome and nice. And that's awesome to see, especially from us. I mean, we're not from the United States, so everyone's just kind of taken, the kind of outsider band and really made us feel welcome and
brought us into the little horror community family, and it's really something else for us. It's really unexpected and really appreciated.
Yeah, and like I said, it feels good. It feels good for us on another level, just because we're not American, and we're just these three Canadian dudes.
It's cool that you guys took the time out to do this interview, because I do have mainstream bands on here, but the main focus of this show when I first started was to support locals no matter where they are, as long as it pertains to the music that I cover. Mm-hmm. So anything I could do to help you guys out, any new stuff, any new announcements, send them my way. I will definitely air it on the air. So.
Oh, thank you so much.
That's no problem.
Thank you so much for having us, too.
Not a problem. Before I let you guys go, I was going to see if you would do a promo for the show.
Sure.
Just say, your names, and this is Black Cat Attack, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Hey, what's up? This is Brian Dickface from Black Cat Attack, and you are listening to my voice right now. Oh, you're also listening to the BODS Mayhem Hour.
Thank you so much, man.
Was that okay?
That's fine. That's totally fine. Yeah. I want to thank Black Cat Attack. I want to thank Val Knox and Brian Dickface for being on the show this evening. And,
see, you can't even say my name without laughing.
I can't. But you only hear these interviews right here on Uber City Radio and BODS Mayhem Hour. I try to bring you all the locals and anyone else that I can get on here for you guys. So thank you guys so much. I'm going to have some Black Cat Attack music to play here in just a very, very shortly. And also some other good stuff for you guys. So stick around. Thanks for listening to the interview, and have a great day, everybody.